Rusev Udria, Rusev Majka, sort of, because he wins by count out here against Jack Swagger. And damn, I was disappointed in this match too, because I wanted Jack Swagger to win, and even though I knew that he wasn't going to, there was still part of me that was just like, just do it. I was happy that they had him lose by count out instead of by just tapping out per usual. And Swagger looked pretty damn strong in this, so credit where credit's due. They didn't make him look like a jackass, but I still wanted him to win. So still part of me is a little bit bitter about that. I think overall this is probably the best match that Rusev has had that I can remember seeing. And it's a shame if they just get rid of this from all the situation that's happening with the airplane and all that. That's not their fault. It's not something that they should be necessarily concerning themselves with, because it's not as if Rusev's character is somebody who shoots down airplanes or anything like that. And a lot of people are really butthurt about that kind of stuff in WWE, and they think that they should take this responsibility for things that they are clearly not responsible for. You know what? WWE does so much stupid crap and people are okay with it. Why can't something like this go by? If you can do shit where you make Hornswoggle the fucking kid of Vince McMahon and people are, oh, I'll buy into this for a month or so or whatever, can't you just assume that when they say recent events that they're not necessarily saying we should try to get heel heat off of this fucking tragedy that happens where a whole bunch of people die? Come on. Rusev and
It's
Jack Swagger is a better feud than that needs to happen, and they should continue this at SummerSlam. It,
I disagree. I think WWE knows exactly what they're doing with the whole, talking about current events thing. They wouldn't do that unless there was a reason for it, and they know exactly what they're referring to. I think this is just kind of an undercurrent way of, trying to trying to piggyback off of this current event thing with Russia and whatnot. And you know what? If WWE, given that they are a publicly traded company, if the people that have their eye on them are offended by them, then they have every right to be. It's up to WWE whether or not they want to do anything about it, or if they're just going to ignore it. They're not. They're clearly, from what people are saying, they might try to steer away from this, but you know what? They made their decision, and that you gotta you're not. I know a lot of people on the internet have basically saying, oh, why can't WWE, exercise their freedom of speech? They're not saying you can't do it. You're just not absolved to punishment. So if let's say USA is feeling peer pressure and wants to punish them, that's USA's decision. It's the same thing that happened when UPN came down on WWE after the Hassan issue. I can't feel bad for WWE because I know I see what they're doing. You don't have to read too far between the lines to see it.
Here's the thing that I think a lot of people are misconceptualizing about that reference, though. It's not like she was just saying, hey, Russia did this, boo us because we're Russian and we're responsible for this. The thing that she actually was doing was making the Americans look like idiots, because before the full news about that even came out, everyone was just like, oh, it must have been the Russians. Blame the Russians. It's like the fucking Red Scare all over again. Something bad happened, must have been the fucking Russians, before we even had any evidence about it. And that's what she pointed out, that we jumped to conclusions, just assumed that Russia is guilty, when we are in fact even more guilty for causing violent acts, for our warmongering or whatever the fuck she said we did.
did she say mongling instead of mongering?
She definitely said warmongering.
Same diff.
We're mongling. Like
But
mongoloids all fighting each other.
That's where the heat came from. The heat didn't just come from the event itself. And the fact that she even just alluded to it, just saying current event, she didn't even say MH17 or Malaysian Airlines. She didn't even go into full details about it. Yes, WWE knew what they meant. Lana knew what she meant, and we all knew what they meant. It's people being way too sensitive on that issue. And you know what? If they were sensitive to that, it's only going to get worse, because I don't know if you guys know, but breaking news just happened today. 2 more planes got shot down in Ukraine.
Really?
So it's not going to get any better. Yeah, these were at least military planes, but 2 more planes shot down in Ukraine. So it's not getting better.
People,
I just don't like the.
understand anyone
I just want to quick say I just don't like that it makes wrestling fans look bad, because all the tweets and all the things I've read about it basically are people bashing not just WWE but the fans of it. Like, oh, I can't believe people actually like watching this stuff that goes to such slimy depths for it. And it's usually people like USA Today, making that comment and stuff like that, which I just, as a wrestling fan, it just makes us look bad. And
Again, you could make any product look bad if you take a few things out of context.
And I think, you know what? Everybody like USA Today, Entertainment Weekly, whatever, they want a whole bunch of different things to be villains. Whether it's South Park is ruining kids today, whether it's WWE. I mean, WWE's always been something where people are like, oh, those stupid wrestling fans. And granted, a lot of wrestling fans are complete idiots. But at the same time, a lot of fans for a lot of things are complete idiots. And if there's people out there that want to complain about it, okay. There's people that are going to complain about pretty much everything. But I don't see the point in needing to just go, well, we need to abandon all the work and effort that we put into this because this might upset people, when the same kind of exploitation happens in so many other ways. If you look at the news itself, it's all exploitation about negative shit. And if that's okay to have, like, you turn on ABC, CBS, NBC, fucking CW even, their weather channel and stuff, everything is, this is a terrible thing that happened and let's try to get you to pay attention to the show. WWE can do that too. Why not? I'm not saying that they need to run ads where Rusev is like fucking sitting there with a gun shooting down planes and going, boo me. Like, that would be like, holy fuck, you're really taking it too far. But just the fact that he's Russian and that they are heels, and they have a built-in thing here that they could do too, which, I mean, this, you would think that maybe this is the reason why I'm saying it's because I want it to happen, but even without it, even if I didn't, if people are complaining about that and they don't like the idea that the Russian people are beating people and doing these kind of things, have Jack Swagger win. Everybody can be exploited in the American pride.
Yeah, they don't want to bury Rusev. They don't want to end Rusev's pushing undefeated streak in that regard. I think where it boils down to is that whereas it goes back to that whole sports entertainment thing. It's people still have a problem differentiating sports entertainment from and I hate to say the word real, but there's an air of reality to sports entertainment that is hard to separate from fact, as opposed to, you know, a regular TV show and stuff. So I think when they bring up current event stuff like that and treat it in that regard, I think people are a little bit more up in arms about it. You know, it's a different kind of context between this and, let's say, if, you know, an episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. referenced something like this.
Good show. I like that show.
Biggest issue I take with everything is this didn't fucking offend anyone. This is people choosing to take issue with something because they read a flashy headline. So if you're really getting your fucking sand in your vagina over this, just don't watch the product. And chances are most of the people complaining, you don't watch the product anyway.
Yeah, I'm not saying that this is. I'm almost positive regular people aren't offended by this, but the people that are reporting against it are the media, are the mass media people, and you know, it depends on what side of the bed Vince McMahon gets off on, but you know, the stuff like that could lead him to do something drastic, and I'd hate to see that happen.
Well, any other thoughts, anybody, for the match or the Rusev situation before we move on to another thing?
There was a match?
I was happy that they went with the finish that they did. That way Jack Swagger still looks strong. And they actually put this match again on main event, so maybe they're which Jack Swagger won by some bullshit finish, so maybe they are continuing the feud.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I think the finish was the best thing they could have done with the situation. I wish they didn't do this random match they had on main event. That kind of complicates things a little bit, but from what I understand, they originally had the match booked for Sheamus. Sheamus was sick, and they just needed someone else to throw out there with him. You could have just thrown anybody. I don't know why you couldn't just do another Rusev Khali match. It's main event. It doesn't really matter. Or maybe it was just, you know, to show, like, hey, you should probably watch main event because these big matches can happen. Whatever the reasoning was. It was another non-finish pretty much, so it's not that deep. I definitely would expect this to at least go through SummerSlam, if not another month or two. These two have great chemistry with each other. Their managers on the mic are perfect foils for each other. This feud is one of the best things they got going on right now. And, you know, 3 months, you told any of us that one of the best feuds going on right now was going to involve Jack Swagger and Rusev, we would have laughed at you. So kudos for everybody involved. Kudos to creative, kudos to Rusev, Lana, Zeb, and Swagger, and kudos to the fans who are getting so behind these segments that is making them that much more fun to enjoy.
Agreed.
I'd be so pissed if they take this away. This has made wrestling fun again for, I'm not gonna say the first time in a long time, but it's so rare we get these moments, and this is one of those. To have it just taken away because a few people who, I forget who said it, don't even watch wrestling, most of them, would be ridiculous.
All right, next match, Y2J versus Bray Wyatt coming up. So stay tuned, click on that next video, and we will see you there.